a very intense program, but I don't see any reference to Syria. You mean that for the months of December, that will not be a subject, not will raise daily?
I have, yesterday, as usual, I had bilateral consultations with members of the Council, all 14 of them. I did not hear Syria mentioned at all. Please.
Just to ask you a question in your national capacity, has there been anything in recent events, the rising violence in Syria, but also the Arab League initiative, which would cause Russia to change its position in terms of supporting or not supporting a resolution at the Council?
You know, I'd really like to stick to my presidential capacity, but this is an important question, so maybe one or two I'll answer in my national capacity. The answer is that we have been very consistent in our approach on Syria from the outset of the crisis. We think that it is the role of the international community to try help resolve internal crisis through promoting dialogue, and this is what we have been doing in our contacts with the Syrian authorities, with the opposition, and with the Arab League. We think that the Arab League has had and maybe still has a unique opportunity to play a constructive role in the situation in Syria. We think that the plan they developed for a monitoring mission was important. We think that the Syrian government, which made an amendment, we proposed amendments to that plan, which could have been considered. And I personally, I looked at the two texts, and I haven't seen in the text anything which couldn't be bridged through some negotiations on the modalities of the deployment of that mission. So we hope that this opportunity to really mediate between the government and the opposition is not lost, even though some of the recent actions we find to be counterproductive. For instance, the economic sanctions which the Arab League have announced, we believe that they are counterproductive. And generally speaking, I think, especially looking at the situation in the Arab world, we need to be mindful of the economic and social stresses. Some Arab countries may be more adjusted than others in going into this economic sanctions chapter, taking a chapter from somebody else's book. Some other countries in the Arab world are less adjusted to that. So it's very disconcerting that it may damage the opportunity for the Arab League to play a mediating role and a pacifying role in the Syrian situation. And also, if things were to keep proceeding in that direction, the impact it might have, not just on Syria, but on Arab countries. So clearly, those developments are quite worrying. And after that, we'll go back to Security Council business, please.
In your national capacity, just want to follow up. Why does Russia feel that it can go ahead of the collective Arab League's position and judgment in as far as the monitoring, as the amendments, and as far as the sanctions, whereas actually Russia feels that it's confident and congratulatory to the Arab League's or the GCC's efforts on Yemen, although Yemen is about bringing down the regime and Syria is not. As far as the Arab League.
This is an excellent question. You know, first of all, we are not ahead of the Arab League. We are behind the Arab League, trying to encourage it to operate in a constructive mode and exercise all opportunities it has as an institution, organization of Arab countries. But thank you for referring to Yemen in this case, because the case of Yemen is another example of a problem where we have exercised our position of principle, but in that case, the Security Council members were able to rally around that position, and the international community was able to rally around that position. I think there have been probably more bloodshed in Yemen over the past few months than in Syria, but still, everybody was encouraging dialogue and negotiation. The Special Advisor of Secretary General was there, supported by key members of the Security Council, working on the basis of the Gulf States initiative. We did pass a resolution which is very much along the lines of the Russian-Chinese draft we produced on Syria, which was not approved by other members of the council. They did not express much of an interest in that, but it had many of the same elements which were contained in the resolution which the Security Council adopted in Syria. So in Syria, in Yemen. So in Yemen, I think the international community can be proud that even in a situation of bloodshed and very serious conflict in a country, we were giving strong signal in favor of dialogue, of political accommodation, and this is what we achieved. In fact, what we don't understand is why, if that can be done in Yemen, that cannot apply to Syria. In Syria, somehow, from the outset, the message which has been sent from some quarters, some capitals, is that no way dialogue can help, that those who go into dialogue, they should stop it immediately, that there is no future in the Arab League initiative. We believe that this is something very counterproductive, and this is something which has exacerbated the situation in Syria.
Just for clarification, do you mean that you would like something similar on Syria as in Yemen, meaning that a plan that will bring down or offer the president the opportunity to step down?
That does not mean that at all. But
what do you mean then?
That the method of joint international effort in favor of domestic dialogue. There can be no prescriptions for different countries. They all are structured differently. They have different traditions and political setups. So, but what can be a general attitude and principle is that the international community is not there to smell blood and to fan confrontation, but the international community is there to prevent further bloodshed and to encourage dialogue. This is what the United Nations is about. This is what the Security Council is about. Can we go back to Security Council business, please?
Would the Security Council be considering or discussing, with suggestion from Russia, the developments in Turkey, whereby some Libyan rebels moved there with the intention of declaring a no military zone in Syria?
I've heard no suggestions to that effect to discuss this matter, please.